there YouTube, it's Vinny here for another special edition of Cap of the Week, and this week we're going to take a look at the World Series. The 2015 World Series. I'm pretty sure nobody had this coming in April, where you had the Royals, defending American League champions, trying to win that 7th game, and against the Mets. I would have never thought the Mets had a chance, and both of these teams made some great moves at the trade deadline that really helped spur their run, and Kansas City came back from the dead against Houston, and then the Mets, they just put it on, especially against Chicago. So let's take a look. Now, last week I was 1 for 2 in my predictions. I predicted that the Mets would win, not in a sweep, but I thought they'd win in 6. And then for the Royals, they really proved me wrong. I really thought Toronto's hitting would come through, but Kansas City's clutch. So this is going to be a very tough prediction to make, but we'll take a look. We have the Kansas City Royals, who have their starting pitching is it's half half the time it's there, half the time it isn't. You have Johnny Cueto, who's great at home, not so well on the road, but considering he's been put in a Game 2 and a Game 6 matchup, I think that bodes very well for the team. Their bullpen is fantastic, and they have really clutch hitters. They have a group of players who have played now in, this will be their 7th postseason series if you include the wild card game in the last 2 years. So Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, Salvador Perez, Alcides Escobar, they all know how to play clutch baseball. And then you have the New York Mets, who really, with the lack of postseason experience, were able to just say, hey, we're this year's Kansas City Royals. We're able to go through. And they have amazing starting pitching, and that's where it starts from. They have clutch hitting, and I noticed in the NLCS that every game it was a different star. Besides, obviously, Daniel Murphy, who's going crazy. You're having players, everyone play, including the slumping Lucas Duda. He woke up and provided, 5 RBIs in Game 4. So, really, it's just, it's two teams that play National League ball, because the Kansas City Royals love doing hit and runs. So, in this aspect, I would give the advantage to the Kansas City Royals. I know the Mets are going to have a designated hitter in games 1, 2, 6, and 7, but I do feel like the Royals have a chance to close out what they started last year. I think that they know where they are. They're not going to get lost in the moment of being in the World Series. Not to say that the Mets will do that, but I do think that the Kansas City Royals are battle-tested. And for God's sakes, I'm going to be wrong probably with the prediction, but I would go with 6 games for Kansas City. I do think that having Johnny Cueto start at home for Game 2 and a potential Game 6 is vital for them. Yolanda Ventura, it's really interesting to see if it would go to a Game 7, that he would be the Game 7 starter. You never know what happens. The Mets rotation is stacked, but I don't know if the Mets... It's Kansas City has that clutch factor that you can't even describe, like you can't even put on paper. But, let's take a look at some of the caps while we're going through the predictions. Kansas City, this is a 1992 Diamond Collection cap. So this was the first year that MLB logo was put on the back. So most likely George Brett wore this cap during the last 2 years of his career. We can take a look on the inside. You have the old Diamond Collection logo, New Era Pro Model. And then you have your 100% wool size 6 7/8 made in USA. Even though this is an embroidered patch, I do believe it's from 1992 based on the Diamond Collection logo. And then we take a look at the New York Mets. This is actually a pretty cool cap from right around 1986. Most likely 1987, but this cap is an original cap. It's got a flat logo. It's got a blue button at the top, a bit dusty, but we do not have a Major League Baseball logo, as this is way before that. We take a look on the inside. We have gray underbrim. We actually have a sweat lining protection here, which is pretty cool. And we have the official licensee Major League Baseball. We have since 1920 New Era, size 7. This was the first iteration of the gray underbrim. I believe around 1986 the Mets went from green to gray, or 1987. So most likely I'll put this at 1987, but anyway, you have 2 great franchises. Neither team has won a World Series in at least 29 years, so somebody is going to get that off the schneid. They're going to be defending. They're going to be World Series champions. It's going to be a great World Series. It's great to see new blood in, and you never know what can happen. Let's see if we play ball. Let's see who's going to be the next Daniel Murphy. All right, till next week. See ya.